The magical universe that J.K. Rowling created for her Harry Potter series has bewitched millions of fans around the world, and as fans, we gobble up every single bit of information we can get our hands on because it helps make sense of what she created. Although Rowling has done an incredible job at creating characters and locations to bring the Harry Potter franchise to life, there are plot holes that confuse many fans. There are many head-scratching gaps in the magical lore and little bits and pieces of her story that just don't quite add up. So in today's video, we are going to go over 5 Harry Potter moments that make no sense. Make sure to let us know if you enjoyed the video by leaving a like and subscribe to the channel, and let us know that you subscribe by commenting down below "I subscribed" to be within the chance of a shout out at the end of the month. Number 1. The purpose of a remember roll. One of the best things about being a wizard or a witch in Harry Potter is the fact that you are able to cast all kinds of spells and you have many items to help you get through things. Too dark and you can't see where you're going? Simple, just flick your wand and it will solve it. Need to get out of an exam? A quick trip to the wizarding candy shop can equip you with treats that will make you sick. The possibilities are almost endless in the magical world of Harry Potter. It's actually quite insane to see how much stuff the wizards and witches can get up to. However, with all these helpful things, it seems somewhat silly that the remember all is a thing. If you don't know what a remember all is, let me go ahead and let you know. It's basically a glass sphere that will turn red whenever you have forgotten something, and it will go back clear once you have remembered whatever it is that you forgot. Which of course does sound very convenient, but the only thing is, it doesn't tell you what you have forgotten. I mean, seriously, what's the point in a sphere telling you that you've remembered something if it's not going to tell you what it is that you've remembered or what it is that you've forgotten? It really makes no sense. So it basically turns out to be somewhat useless in a way. It's a great theory, but often more frustrating than not remembering what you have forgotten in the first place. Neville Longbottom received one as a gift from his gran at the beginning of the 1991 to 1992 school year. As soon as he held it in his hand for the first time, it turned red, indicating that he had forgotten something. The problem was he could never remember what he had forgotten.
The only problem is, I can't remember what I've forgotten.
So like I said, they turn out to be quite useless and they're frustrating because it tells you you've forgotten something, but it doesn't tell you what you've forgotten. How are you supposed to remember what you've forgotten if you've forgotten it? Also, as a quick little fact, these remember alls were banned in the Owls because they could be used to cheat. Expecto Patronum! Number 2. The Weasley twins should have been able to see Peter Pettigrew on the Majora's map. Fred and George Weasley were known for being 2 of the most mischievous students to ever roam the halls of Hogwarts. They made it their priority while they were students for 7 years at Hogwarts to learn every one of the castle's tricks it had to offer. They got their hands on the Majora's map, which is a magical piece of parchment that shows you the location of anybody at any time, and it can also show you the location of secret locations, I guess you would say. The Weasley twins gave the map to Harry in The Prisoner of Azkaban, and it was thanks to this map that he first became aware of Peter Pettigrew's unexpected presence at Hogwarts. He was found out to be disguised as a rat, which was actually Scabbers, who is Ron Weasley's pet. And he had been disguised as a rat for many years, but nobody noticed. I mean, to be honest, it was a pretty spectacular way of hiding yourself, but it's just weird how nobody ever noticed, especially Fred and George, seeing as though they had the map in their hands, so they would have seen that he was in the castle. It's just so confusing how they never noticed. There's no doubt that they would have used the map to keep an eye on their brother's whereabouts, so how did they never notice that he was being followed around by a name on the map that goes by Peter Pettigrew? How did they never notice this? I really don't understand. Even if they didn't know the rat's history, they should have easily figured out that their unusual wizened family pet had been more than it appeared to be. Like I said, it's just so confusing that they didn't see him on the map. It's just weird to me, to be honest. Let me know what you think down below. It's just so weird.
I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Number 3. Harry should have been able to see the tester rules before he had. When Harry Potter headed back to Hogwarts in the Order of the Phoenix, he was confronted with an unpleasant surprise. The seemingly horseless carriage that transported him and his friends to their home were actually powered by winged veiny horse-like creatures. The special thing about these creatures is that only a few people can see them. That's why the carriages looked as if they pull themselves. These horse-like creatures were actually Testrals, which Harry learned from Luna Lovegood.
They're called Testrals. They're quite gentle, really.
And they were only visible to people who had witnessed death. There's just one problem with these creatures showing up for the first time when they did. Harry had seen death long before he saw them when he saw them. His mother was killed by Voldemort right in front of him as an infant, so why was he only able to see them in the 5th book? It's argued that maybe the infant Harry only heard his mother's death, but even if we do agree with this, and he didn't see any death officially until the Triwizard Tournament, this still leaves a big loophole. Harry and his friends would have taken the carriage back to Hogwarts Express at the end of their school year, and just shortly after Cedric died in the tournament. So wouldn't Harry at the very least have noticed the Testrals then? Maybe this is just a huge plot hole that we're never meant to know the answer to.
What do you want? Kill the spare!
Number 4. Wizards probably wouldn't need glasses. Magical folk in the Harry Potter universe are able to control minds, transform into other creatures, and all sorts of unimaginable things. When it comes to having perfect vision, that's a no-can-do situation. You would think that at some point during the creation of all those magical spells and devices that they would have mustered something up to keep their vision 20/20. Saying this, it's quite hard to imagine the young Harry without his signature round glasses, to be honest, but on the other hand, he would have had a bigger advantage throughout his years of dodging evil if he hadn't needed to keep them intact and on his face to actually see what he was doing. Dumbledore's half-moon glasses are pretty cool, to be honest, and Professor McGonagall looks especially serious when she peers over her frames disapprovingly at students. But putting all that aside, glasses seem like they would be a complete unnecessary inconvenience for a wizard or witch, especially when they're going around fighting. Just think about it, while they are fighting and whatever they're doing with their magical wands and stuff, they have to make sure their glasses don't fall off their head. Like, isn't that a huge inconvenience? I think it really is. Yes, I suppose that you could argue that there's some sort of magical law that prevents any folk from changing their biology, but you'd think that at the very least, somebody would have invented a magical contact lens that would fix eyesight for good. It's just something that makes no sense really to me. Why do wizards and witches wear glasses? Seriously, with all the magic they can do, they should be able to muster up something to fix their vision.
Oculus Reparo.
Number 5. Voldemort not using the Unbreakable Vow with his Death Eaters. The Unbreakable Vow is an extremely powerful spell designed to forever bind two witches or wizard to a promise. Think of it as a somewhat god tier pinky promise, I guess. An Unbreakable Vow is a method of making a vow that is magically reinforced, and if the vow is broken, then the one who made it will apparently die. Severus Snape used it to seal a promise that he would protect Draco Malfoy in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Almost all of the preparation for the vow is mental, and it requires a third party, who is known as the Bonder, who will cast the spell with their wand, which will reinforce the vow. The Unbreakable Vow is an incredible oath that can only be broken by death. So the question is, why didn't Voldemort use it while he was attempting to rise to power? He definitely had no trouble using the unforgivable curse to torture and dispose of those who stood in his way, so it's a bit baffling why he wouldn't have taken more steps to keep a hold of the Death Eaters who swore alliance to him. If he had have used the vow, Voldemort would have 100% made sure that none of his minions turned against him, and he would also be able to make sure that none of them were planning an attack behind his back or something of those sorts. He also would have had a pretty good idea anytime someone like Snape, who worked for a double agent for years, wasn't loyal, because they would have been dead the second they turned on him. Any Dark Lord who would consider wanting to take over the world would probably want to use this kind of magic if they are really serious about taking over the wizarding world.
And will you, to the best of your ability, protect him from harm?
I will.
Well, there we have it. 5 Harry Potter moments that don't really make any sense. Leave a comment down below suggesting any moments that you think should have been on this list. Let us know what you thought of this list. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Share this video and our other videos with your Potterhead friends. And we will see you in the next one.